Hello and welcome to the Life at Leyton podcast with me, Sarah Glanville, as your host. Here at Leyton UK, we know our people are more than just their job. The careers of our people are part of their unique lives, and who they are as a whole person is what fundamentally contributes to their success and the success of our business. In the podcast, we'll spend time with one of our exceptional people from across the business. And in each episode, we'll look to explore the people behind the job titles, the unique and brilliant stories that make them who they are. In episode 9, I got the chance to sit down with our very own Head of Sales Development, Jack Hankey. Jack leads our sales development teams here at Leyton UK and in Casablanca. And from the day that I met Jack, he's spoken passionately about coaching culture and the value of investing in his people's development. When I heard about how coaching has featured throughout different times in his life and how he has refined his own coaching skill set, it was clear we needed to have him on the podcast to talk about that journey and how it has benefited his teams. I'll let Jack tell you about his story in his own words, but what you'll hear from him is the real impact of a life being coached and how that results in the need to pay that back to others. So thank you for tuning in. Grab yourself a coffee and get ready to be inspired by the people that are Leyton UK. Hello Jack, welcome to episode 9 of the Life at Leyton podcast. We've been waiting a minute to record this one. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, good spirits, been looking forward to it. It's been a while since we first said we were going to do it.
Yeah, I've been keeping you waiting, but glad we're finally getting round to it. So I've really been keen to have you on the podcast for a long time, because I know how passionate you are about coaching culture, and it really is at the heart of the success of your teams here at Leyton. And you've got a really interesting story behind where you discovered your passion for coaching. So do you want to start us off today by talking us through that journey?
Yeah, of course. So I was coached as a tennis player when I was younger. So from like 7 years old, I've always had a coach, and obviously it benefited me with tennis. Was able to play through like county levels and all that sort of stuff, and it then turned into, from being coached to then becoming the coach, it was the perfect Saturday job when I was at college. Paid much better than glass collecting or pot washing, and it was a bit more enjoyable because I was out in the sun in the summer. And yeah, so I ended up started coaching when I was probably about 16, 17, just at the local tennis club, which I still play for locally. And yeah, started doing that. Worked with a coach there who was fairly good. I knew that coach from when I was using my mum's first coach when we were very younger. And yeah, so I started coaching, worked my way through various different levels of coaching. I won't bore you with the details. We have to do various different qualifications. Went to America for 9 months to coach out there when I was 20, which was a lot of fun. The coaching wasn't the best part of it. The best part of it was going and experience in America. And I'd never been before, so that was really exciting. And then started a career, set up my own little tennis coaching business, became a head coach at a club in Wimbledon, which was a perfect place to be a head coach, I thought. Did that for two or so years. Had various different coaching jobs all over the country, and I was wanting to specialise in performance coaching, and kind of felt at the time when I was about 24, I believe, I'd hit the ceiling in tennis coaching, which I know is very young to do that. And there's plenty of coaches, career coaches, who do it all their life and have a great life. But I'd taken a player to junior Wimbledon. She got to the quarterfinals. It was really exciting. And for everyone else, I was just like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
So I just kind of knew at that point I was done. So I decided to move into the wonderful world of sales. Obviously didn't move in straight into management. I had to, earn the right to be able to do all that and learn my trade, etc. Got my first job in sales thanks to my dad. He'll say it wasn't thanks to him, but it definitely was thanks to him. He helped me out getting that job. Made my way through, had various different roles, found a job working for a sports clothing company, selling to like sports people, and it was perfect because I love sport. I could talk to people. It's such a really good way for me to build rapport, and it was my sweet spot, and it really worked for me. I spent a couple of years there. Loved it, had various different like sales manager, regional manager role, etc. And then left that role to take on a head of sales role, which was good fun, and kind of felt like at that point I really needed to take a step back again and really try and find a way of I didn't think I was the finished article as a salesperson. I felt like it was wrong for me to try and train people because I actually wasn't doing any coaching as a head of sales at that point. I was just trying to tell them what to do and going about it completely the wrong way, but I assumed was the right way because that was my only exposure to leaders before. So just before COVID, I ended up taking a role as a business development manager at like a software company, but also they worked in they originally were a paper company where did like health and safety training, so it was health and safety software. And I worked for this guy who's called Paddy, and I only had 5-6 months with him, but it was actually what he instilled in me in that first month on what a sales leader is. He was a phenomenal coach, and I learned so much of him, which he probably would never realise because we've not spoke since then. Obviously, COVID happened, I got made redundant, all that. But how he went about working, it was always about, he was never worried about the sale. He was worried about how you got better in that sale. Obviously, he was worried about the sale, but the way he went about it was, if I can get you being better at sales, the sales would just do it themselves. So it was fascinating how he went into the detail, worked through training programs. Like, we have quite an intense training program here. It was quadruple the intensity of that. Had to stay away from home for a month and everything. It was mental. But it was really good, and he was a fantastic coach. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out for me there. COVID hit, ended up getting made redundant. Obviously, had lots of cuts in the business. Actually, business still going quite strong as well, which is fantastic to see. And then I found myself at Leyton, had to work in COVID doing various different bits. And then I found myself at Leyton coming in as a sales manager for the business development team. And it was a very daunting role. I was coming in coaching, managing and coaching people who knew more about the product than me, more about the industry than me. And it was very much like, what am I going to do here to, one, be successful and, stand the test of time at the company, but two, actually make these guys appreciate my management style, but also want to work for me. So I kind of approached them, I'm going to teach them stuff they don't know. Now, I don't mean in the sense of like not knowing how to sell and all that. It was more, I know Leyton, I went through the Leyton training. We coach people to sell their way, and it's really good and it's very successful. So I thought, why don't we add a couple more strings to the bow and get them working a different way so they can react and move. And it really worked because it resonated with them very quickly, and we all of a sudden, it was no real, after the first initial month or two of it embedding in, it was no real issues like, oh, he doesn't know the product, he doesn't know what he's never done the job. So it was really exciting, and I thank them. There was 4 guys. It was Jake Toll, Ross Howarth, Callum Sheridan, and Sam Waldridge, who was the original team I had. Without them 4, I probably wouldn't be sitting here having a podcast with you. So I'm forever grateful of how receptive they were to me. They were willing to learn, and that's half the job. If people are willing to learn, then the battle's pretty much won, because I was very confident I'd be able to teach them. And then, find myself in the position I am now as head of sales development for Leyton, trying to instill the culture of always add value to your people. I think coaching is two-barreled. It's very easy for me to teach someone how to do it or tell them this is the best way to do it, and they take it on board. We have to give them the belief as well to be able to do it. So it's that two-pronged approach, like show them how to do it and instill them with the belief. When you're coaching tennis or anything, you don't just tell someone how to hit a forehand. You drill it with them, but don't say a word. You instill them belief, like saying, amazing shot, you see what he did there, that's perfect. You really instill that belief in something that they can go and do it in matches, so we can instill it so people can go and do it in their sales calls or their meetings, etc. So yeah, in a nutshell, I rambled a bit, but that's me. That's where I am.
No, that's fantastic. And I think it's great to see the journey that you've been on and your own understanding of coaching and your own experience of coaching and how you've been able to give that to others. I think it's really clear that experience that you've had and the benefit that you've seen on the back of having the opportunity to be coached is an opportunity to others and the people that you manage, which is fantastic. Why do you think that coaching is such an effective performance tool?
I think because it's really simple. If you're coaching someone, you're adding value to them, it's really simple to get them to buy into you and be able to progress through how they want to work. So you can tell people, it shows a genuine interest that you want them to be better. Like I said about the Paddy thing, he was bothered about the sale. I knew he was bothered about the sale because that's what he was targeted on. But he gave out the impression that he wasn't, and he was more bothered about our development. And when you do that, you really buy into that person because you know they're investing a lot of time into you. You know they're doing it for your best interests. They're not just coming into morning meetings, tell me your numbers, how you getting on, why are you underperforming, well done for overperforming, let's keep going. It's just rubbish basically. So if you can really explain and understand the reason why they're doing the selling, why they're doing the role, why they want to do this, and if they can instill, one of the things, when we are recruiting people, one of the big things I'm looking for is if people can be coached. I would take on someone with less of a track record who I actually think has an ability to go and do the job and be able to learn. So yeah, it's that buy-in culture. They're able to buy into you. They're able to, they want to work for you. They want to work with you. And therefore, it's easier because every time they speak to you, they know they're going to get value. One of the things I always say to the teams is any conversation you have, other than the likes of when you're going out for lunch or anything like that, one-to-ones, teams, make sure people leave with value. It could be that they go, no, I'm not going to, that doesn't work for my style. That's fine. They've got value off it because they know they're not going to be able, they're not going to try and work that way. Or it goes, that really resonated with me. I'm going to go and execute this now. And what the managers do in our department, they're really good with the feedback loop. So once they do their sessions, they will ask for examples in the next coming days, etc., of people demonstrating. And you would think people might not want to share their calls or share their videos of meetings, etc., but they do, like, because they want to know how to execute it. They want to know how to get better. It's a really good way of working. And I didn't bring it into Leyton. We've always had it. I think I've tried to take it up a level in the departments, etc., because with the managers especially, because sometimes when you get into management positions, it's very easy to think, I kind of just like, I've just got to worry about the numbers and all that. No, you worry about your people first, and numbers come.
Yeah, and I think that is such a great way to look at people management, like, because it is, at the end of the day, you are managed on numbers, right? In a sales function, you are managed on numbers, but it's having that belief in your ability to coach people and belief in your ability, in your people's ability to be coached and to learn and to become better, and knowing if you invest that time in them, the numbers will take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. What impact does building a coaching culture have on an organisation like Leyton UK?
I talk about it all the time, like within the office, and you'll probably hear me talk about it. I call it the payback culture that Leighton's built. It's not just the managers who do this, it's the people as well. Someone who started at Leyton had so much help from either, I'll talk about the sales department here, like, some people, it's the start of their journey in their career. Other people have been doing it a little bit longer. And you've got people in the office, business developers, managers, team leaders, etc., who all have a vast amount of experience, and they all want to share it. Not just the managers, it's the people as well. So when that, say for example, a BD supports a SD, and that SD starts getting better, and the BD, obviously they all start working in a certain way, all of a sudden that SD, then someone else comes in, they want to pass on down because they feel like they have to, which they don't have to, but they know. It's like, I was supported so much, I have to, and that's why I call it a payback culture. I need to pay back now. It's like that, when you're in the shop and you pay forward for a coffee and all that sort of stuff. It's that sort of model where if someone's doing something kind and helpful for you, which that's what it is, coaching people, make people better. It's kindness. You want to see people flourish, so you should always want to pay that back. Obviously, not at the detriment of your own work. That is always going to be your own priority. Your own development should always be your priority until you move into those management roles or team leader roles. But sometimes we have to tell people, look, focus on yourself for a bit. I know you're really helpful, but let's just focus on yourself, which isn't a bad conversation to have because it's the heart's in the right place. They want to support. They've got this experience, this knowledge. And actually, when people do want to move into these team leader roles or these management roles, it makes it really difficult decisions for the likes of myself and the other people who will be making those decisions, because so many people have shown the ability to be able to do it. So all of a sudden, it's like, this is really difficult. This is really hard. But it's not a bad problem to have. It's a great problem to have.
It is a great problem to have. I just think when it's very much similar to the experience that you've had, when you do get so much yourself from other people investing time in you, it's really hard not to want to give that to other people, which is And I know you've coined the phrase payback culture, but I use it on pretty much every screening call that I do for your department, Jack. I talk about it constantly.
I'll
I
send you the
credit
bill
you with it.
for the rights. Yeah,
Yeah, I credit you with it, but it's the perfect way to describe the culture here at Leighton, I think.
definitely.
Um, so what does coaching actually look like for you and your teams here at Leighton? What do the guys do? What do they do for each other?
Yeah. So it depends on what part of the journey people are on. So it could be if people are starting out, it's very much dissecting cores, moving from various different stages and breaking it down. It's not just throwing everything at once. Let's master a part, master the next part, master the other part, and everything will hopefully marry and work together. The the overriding theme I always say to my team is spend an hour a week doing coaching. And sometimes it can be when I was managing the BDs, etc. I always used to do it as BD led. I do it now as managers. I still try and coach the managers if they have any issues. Come to me. I'm not going to tell you what you're good at, what you're not so good at, etc. Because I don't know. I'm not. I have teams in Scotland and London and Morocco, etc. I'm not there all the time, so I can't see everything. So I need them to be honest and have that understanding of themselves to go, yeah, I'm not so good at this. Can you help me? Sometimes I can. I'm not going to try and coach someone at something that isn't my skill set. But I'll be able to point them in the right direction of someone who will be able to help them. So that's the first bit. The second bit is as they're developing and getting through, and we're thinking about moving them on to various different roles in the business, or sort of growing their career. It's all about really going into detail of where they want to see. So it's not necessarily just about how you're selling. It could be about how you're managing your day. It could be about how you're managing pipelines. It could be, sometimes, you have to coach people on stuff that's going on in their personal life. Like that's maybe interfering and be like, you're in a career now, you need to have these sort of conversations with people. And again, I would still class that as coaching, because if things are getting in the way in personal life, we've all had things that happen, and I've sought advice from Brian or whoever, and people seek advice from me, and it's part of the whole coaching aspect of the role. So we try and get it so it's very structured, very simple, with a feedback loop going on. Various different points of where they are in the career will depend on how we coach them. We like it to be, we will lead it to start, but then it's people led, and then it's a blend of everything else in between after.
Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, what's that saying? Like, you can give a man a fish or you can teach him how to fish. Like, people
Exactly.
have to
Yeah.
learn how to identify their own areas for development and be part of that process of coming forward with solutions to become better at things, and they think
Yeah.
they believe in it more when they're part of they come up with the solution to become better, or they bought into that process of improving.
Exactly. So it's all conversational as well. There's no point coming in, right, we're going to do this, listen, let's go. It should be like, does that resonate with you? What are your key takeaways? If it doesn't resonate with you, let's understand why. Because maybe we're going the wrong way about it. Everyone learns in different ways. I know for me, if someone sent me a 10-page document to read and learn something from it, I'm not learning anything.
Yeah.
That wouldn't stick in with me. I need someone to talk to me and show me and explain and do it that way. But some people learn that way. They need it all, on the sheet of paper, understanding everything. They go over and go over as if they're revising it. And that's fine. We adapt and we do it that way as well. But it all comes from the conversation with the manager, understanding everyone's different. It's not
Yeah.
one size fits all, etc.
Yeah, for sure. And I can imagine that with the coaching culture you've developed, Jack, that there's
Mm-hmm.
coaching all different ways. So like maybe sometimes your guys will be coaching up as well. So like you'll get feedback, and you're expecting feedback on the way that you guys are managing and your managers are managing. I can imagine it's a real kind of collaboration, and everyone's got a part to play in the coaching
Yeah,
atmosphere.
100%. I've got a really strong team around me at the moment. And when I say strong, they're very forthcoming with ideas. They'll also tell me, they'll be very honest with me. Sometimes too honest, if I do say so myself. But it's good. I don't mind that. I encourage that. I want them to not put me in the corner and push me, but yeah, try and push me into like thinking differently. Because sometimes I will maybe be making decisions that people might not agree with. but I always try to explain why we're making the decisions and why we're going to do it this way. And then sometimes, there's a running joke. I think it's Max Brown always says, because I made a decision once and I flip flopped from it very quickly, and he stood the test of time, and he constantly reminds me that is me. But it wasn't. It was a decision I made which I slept on and instantly regretted the morning after. So I decided not to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Max Brown to not let go of something, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. But, I always try and make sure if I remember something he's done, I'll remind him of that as well.
That's fair. That's only fair. All right, Jack, thank you so much for that. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover off on coaching culture or coaching environment before we finish up?
I think the key thing I want to try and get across here is, if things are tough whilst you're in your career and you're trying to make sure you're developing and getting better and all that sort of stuff, and it's not working, don't worry. Trust the process. If you're not 100% the process is working for you and it's not working for you, again, don't worry. Seek advice from your manager wherever you're working, your team leaders, peers, mentors, whatever, and get an understanding and break it down. Don't be scared to admit I don't want to say failure, because it's not failure, you're learning. But don't be scared of that word. The only way you can be successful is if you've made mistakes and you failed. There's no way you can be successful unless you have done something wrong in the past. If everything's gone right, I think I heard it. I was scrolling through Instagram probably last night or something. You get these reels up and all that. Be able to execute what you can do in the chaos. So if chaos is going on, if you're able to execute on your job, if you're able to execute on what's needed to be done when there's chaos all around you and you can remain calm, do it. Trust the process. If things aren't working for you, but you're pretty confident and people are telling you it's coming, more experienced or mental, it does come. I've seen so many people, then it just boom, it works. Yeah, all of a sudden, I use Carl Clapperton is a great example. He's one of the managers in the department. He started as a junior sales developer, and he actually used this in his interview to become the manager. So he won't mind me saying, because he uses it to empathise with his teams, which is fantastic. And he talks about he was probably the worst junior sales dev Leyton's ever seen in them first 2 months. Made about 2,000 calls, got nowhere and all that. And then, but he stuck at the process. He had a great coach at the time, and he worked through that process. And then all of a sudden, he then became a BD on my team. And then when I moved over to the sales development department, I asked him to come and join me, etc. and all that, if he would be interested. So yeah, so it was. So that's what I'd say. Trust the process, accept failure, and yeah, be prepared to work in chaos going around you, because that's how you get the good stuff done.
Yeah. Amazing. I know. I remember Kyle talking about those conversion rates, and my brain about exploded. But I mean, it's so true. It just takes that kind of willingness to learn, the work ethic, and just being a sponge to feedback, right? And if you're able to do that, the good things happen if you're able to action on the feedback that you get.
Exactly.
Awesome. Exactly. Well, I mean, I can't let you finish up without telling me if you're excited about Wimbledon.
No, I'm excited. As we sit here today, Queen's has just finished. So, and Carlos Alcaraz is going to be number 1 seed, which is exciting, because it means him and Djokovic won't meet to the final. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm a bit disappointed. I'm a big Nick Kyrgios fan, and it doesn't look like he's going to be playing. And I think he's probably one of the players who could push them on grass.
Yeah.
But no, English contingency looks good. Last year, Cam Norrie got to the semi-finals, so hopefully he can do something like that again, which is always good. But I do think no one can really touch Djokovic in a minute. So I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it, because I actually quite like him, but I know he's a little bit Marmite for people. But yeah, I think it will be Djokovic this year. But I'm excited for it. I was going to try and go down, but with the start of our fight, they pushed it back a little bit this year. So with the start of our financial year and all that, didn't really want to take any days off.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask if you were going down. I mean, I think it looks like an incredible thing to go see.
It's fantastic. I went last year, and it's such a brilliant day. I went middle Saturday last year, so there's loads of tennis going on. I was very lucky when I was younger. I used to get tickets to go most years. So it's great. It's good fun. I don't really like strawberries and cream or Pimm's, so I tend to just stick to the lager or the non-alcoholic beverages. And yeah, but it's a great day out, especially when the sun's shining. You can't beat it, I don't think, as an event.
You didn't strike me as a strawberry and creams and Pimm's guy, I'll be honest,
No,
Jack.
I'm definitely not. Just give me a lager and I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be fine. All right. Thank you so much, Jack. This has been brilliant. Thank you for your insights. And thank you to everyone for listening along at home. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time with our 10th episode, where we'll be hearing another brilliant story of one of our people here at Leyton UK. But until then, if you are one of the members in our talent community and you are interested in finding out more about what the future might look like at Leyton, please reach out to one of us here in the talent acquisition team. I'll put my contact details in the description below. Or check out our careers page for the roles that we have live currently. We'll be back in a few weeks. Thanks again, Jack, for sharing your story. Thank you all for listening in. This has been episode 9 of the Life at Leyton podcast.